Need a boost to your lineup, but not sure who to add? Well, I got some must-add players on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source for fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Matthew Ane. Find me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at Matthew_Ane for people that are listening on audio. My last name is spelled A as in Apple, H as in Harry, N as in Nancy, E as in Echo. And if you're watching on YouTube, please click the bell below. It will subscribe you to the channel and give you a notification every time we drop a new episode. Also, please leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple or Spotify, wherever you listen. It really helps out the show, and we truly appreciate it. And if you want more than what we offer in this 30-minute podcast, please check us out on the Diamond Club on Subtext. You'll get more than what we offer here. You can get waiver wire rankings, prospect call-ups. You'll even be able to ask us direct questions. So check us out on there. You get a free 2 weeks. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use the code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for first deposit match up to $100. And guys, we had a great episode today. It's been a tough couple weeks with injuries and whatnot. And I got the names that you're going to want to add going into the week, or going into the weekend per se, and start the new week, because I promise you're going to need some boosting, and I got you right here. And we're going to start off with some great names, start off with some bats. Second half of the show, we're going to hit some arms, and I promise, I mean, we may not be striking gold with everybody, but I promise the guys you do pick up, they're going to produce. So let's go with it. Right? Excuse me. We'll start with Jesse Winker. Jesse Winker right now is actually killing it right now. He's 18% owned, I might add. 6 runs, 2 bombs, 3 ribs, stolen base, batting .478 on the week right now. On the season, he's got 12 runs, 2 bombs, 5 ribs, 2 stolen bases, batting .364. Jesse Winker is looking real good right now, and you know what? I ain't mad at it. Even his OBP is at 485, a slug at 582, and an OPS of 1067. Everything is looking like it's moving and grooving. There obviously isn't much long-term outlook for Jesse Winker. He hasn't been able to ever really just put it all together with that upside and, do come anywhere close to what he did in 2021, where we all thought he was going to take the step forward. But unfortunately, he is who he is, and he also can't manage to just stay on the field. And you know what? I've just pretty much just write it off. I'll ride the wave when he's hot. And, the hot hand is really all that matters for me right now, especially at this point in the season with guys going down like Luis Roberts, Royce Lewis, and so on and so forth, of all the injuries that are coming up. You kind of want somebody that's just producing now. When they cool off, you just drop them like it's hot, and it don't even matter because it is what it is. So, like, for me, Jesse Winker, not the first guy running out to get. It's probably the next guy, but, Jesse Winker does pose a value right now. And, hey, when he does produce, it is great. But let's move on. Let's talk Mitch Haniger, right? Mitch Haniger is actually performing quite well right now, and honestly underowned in my opinion. He's still 27% owned. This last week, he has 5 runs, a bomb, 5 ribs, batted .348. Even on the season, he's got 10 runs, 3 bombs, 13 ribs, and batting .292. Along with that, Mitch Haniger also has a really nice other stats. Like, he has an OBP of 847. His slug is 477. Everything is looking up for him right now. And when he's healthy, the dude is awesome. He hits power. He has decent average. At least you're going to get 250 from him. And, he's never really like a true threat for stealing bases, so you don't really want to consider him for that. But the runs and ribbies, especially on that Seattle lineup, Mitch Haniger poses to be a force when healthy. The only problem is it's a matter of when he gets hurt. I don't really ever feel a way that like he is ever going to be bad when he's actually out on the field. Maybe when he's returning from an injury, maybe a first week or so may take him a little time to get going. But Mitch Haniger does produce. He's always been one of my, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Guilty pleasures for fantasy baseball players. And Mitch Haniger, I know for a fact, is one of those guys for me. And you know what? I promise he will be for you this year. As long as he's healthy, he's going to produce. And last week alone shows everything. So pick up Mitch Haniger now. He's probably one of the top guys here out of this list. They won't tell you what because you'll have to wait and join the Diamond Club for that. All right, we're going to move on. We're going to talk Ahmed Rosario. Ahmed Rosario right now is 21% owned. And last week, so whatever, last 7 days in total, he's had 4 runs, 2 bombs, 6 ribs, batting 455. On the season, he's batting 328. He has 5 runs, 2 bombs, 9 ribs, stolen base. Like, everything's looking good for him. Like, Ahmed Rosario is, on the Rays right now, funny enough, and has second short and outfield eligibility on Yahoo. The positional eligibility is great. If you just lost Ozzie Albies, for instance, Ahmed Rosario is somebody that you can definitely slide in right now that's producing until the next guy up that we want to slide in and out. Because when he cools off, you don't want to keep him in your lineup either. He's not somebody you're going to try and hold all year, but right now with losing Ozzie Albies, he seems like the no-brainer, pick up and slot in for the short time, because I think Ozzie Albies is supposed to miss like 2 to 3 weeks. So, because it literally, it doesn't even give a timetable, but says to miss multiple weeks. So it's kind of like sucks. You don't know what to do, but at least while this dude's performing in the short term, you could slide him in and, we could figure out who to go after later. But yeah, Ahmed Rosario, my guy for second base this year for pickups. All right, Brian De La Cruz, we're up next, man. We're cruising through this episode. Sheesh, got 4 guys in about 6 minutes. I'm gonna have to slow down. Brian De La Cruz, another guy, 14% owned. Okay, he's actually doing his thing. His last week he had 3 runs, 2 bombs, 9 ribs, stolen base, batting 360 on this season too. Stats don't look atrocious either. He's had 80 at bats. He's had 8 runs. He's had 4 doubles. He's had 3 bombs, 10 ribs, a stolen base, batting 288. The walkout, the strikeouts are atrocious, though. At one walk to just 20 strikeouts. Sheesh. But he has a slug of 450, and OPS is 746, which isn't wonderful, but isn't bad. And an OBP that isn't wonderful either, at 296. But hey, I mean, 296 ain't atrocious, but you know, I I like my guy here. Brian De La Cruz is just going to get the job done. Be consistent right now for you while he's performing. I wouldn't say long term, but at least these last couple of weeks, especially with outfield. Outfield, I feel, was already a shortened position with the injuries that occurred this year. Let alone that it was just not a very deep position. Being able to pick up Brian De La Cruz right now in those, literally what 86% of leagues, to have him for the short term while he is performing is great. My rule off the waiver wire is batting average off the waiver wire right now is just something you need to add. So Brian De La Cruz is a must add for me and is going to be waiver wire gold for you just in the short future. But yeah, before we move on, I do have a sponsor for you. But coming up, I also have a bunch of great names. We have Jake Farley, our last bat, Casey Mize, and some other guys that you're going to want to stash or start coming up. So we'll be back right after this. Guys, we're talking FanDuel. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball is in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150 win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks. Make it interesting with a live same game parlay, or bet against your team's rival and make the day interesting. All on the app that is safe, secure, and super easy to use. So, what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. All right. Little Matthew McConaughey. It's Locked On NFL Mock Draft live on April 17th at 7 Eastern, streaming on Locked On Sports Today's 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube or free Amazon Fire TV channel app. Find the ultimate 6-episode series on April 17th at 7 Eastern to hear who the local Locked On experts are picking for every NFL franchise. With live reactions from local college football experts or even a fantasy football angle, the Locked On NFL Mock Draft on April 17th at 7 Eastern, streaming live on Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube or free on Amazon Fire TV channel app. Also, introducing the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast Diamond Club on Subtext, your ultimate fantasy baseball companion. This season, as the season unfolds, rely on our dynamic content and get real-time alerts right to your phone, including waiver wire rankings, instant call-up notifications, injury actions, and a whole lot more. Stay ahead of your fantasy leagues by joining the Diamond Club on Subtext, where your path to victory begins. Subscribe now, elevate that fantasy baseball experience to new levels, and plus, you get 2 weeks free. So why not come see one of the best things that's going to be out there for in-season stuff? And I promise you, you won't be disappointed. By joining the Diamond Club today, you're going to get rankings for today's episode. You're going to be able to ask me questions. You're going to be able to, talk trades with me. It's very hard to like go and talk to somebody in your league right now and be like, yo, what do you think of like this trade offer I'm about to make? Because then, I'm going to mess with you if you're asking me that in my league. So why not come ask Dom and I, and, we can, get in there and we can help you out and, kind of come up with a game plan on how you can make that trade happen. The whole other scenarios, but I promise you, you won't want to miss out on that. I promise. Check it out. Links in the description below. All right, enough self-promoting. We got a whole bunch of names. I'm flying through this episode. I actually got to slow down. I got to take a sip real quick. It's weird not having Dom still. We talked. Supposedly he's supposed to be back for Monday's episode. I pray, as long as he's in the right mental headspace, which I wouldn't blame him if he misses. Let's hope that Dom's back though, because man, lightning rounds. I love talking, but not this much. I'm kidding. I love you guys. But all right, thanks guys. We're gonna move on now. I'm done with my little rant. We're gonna talk Jake Fraley. Jake Fraley, right now is doing his thing as well. Let me get his thing up for me here. So Fraley is 39% owned, a little bit more widely owned. He is performing quite well over this last week with 7 runs, a bomb, 3 ribs, 4 stolen bases, batting .389. And even on the season right now, he has some nice stats, right? He has 43 at bats. He has 13 runs. He has 4 doubles, a bomb, 4 ribs, 5 stolen bases. He has 3 walks to 9 strikeouts. He's batting .395 on the season, an OBP of .435, and a slug of .558, and OPS of .993. Now, Fraley, I don't think has by no means like long-term value, right? Like we kind of know he is. He's 29 years old. He's been in the league since 2019. He's never really been able to make like a true impact, nor does he really play a full season. I haven't seen, his career high for total at bats was last year, 2023, with 336 at bats. Was able to, perform quite well, I might add, in that short period of time. He had 15 home runs in that short little time, along with, 21 stolen bases, batting .256. So, like, even if he gets, another, I don't know, 275 at bats from us from here to now, like, I'll take that production in the short term, whether I'm in a roto league and I'm just absorbing all the counting stats, or whether I'm in a, a head-to-head category, or even, what do you call it, points. I think he still holds value there because he strikes out about, 50% of like his walk to strikeout is about 50%, right? So last year he had 37 walks to 71 strikeouts. So like he's not mutilating you in that category. He also hit 18 doubles in that short stint last year. He's already got 4 this year. So like he is producing for you on the level of points, along with just, your head-to-heads and your roto leagues. Like he is somebody that's producing, has the track record of doing it, just can't stay healthy, or can't stay on the team. But hey, like right now he's producing. Ride the hot hand, keep him until he doesn't. Because I mean, hey, why would you pass up on those kind of stats? Especially again with the injuries going on. I mean, he's a great flex play. I mean, right now almost daily. Outfield is thin, and why not? I mean, you never feel like, okay, I just can't play that guy, or it's kind of like an ugly play. I don't really want to add him. It's not the most attractive name. Who cares? It's really just a matter of what the numbers are at the end of the week. I don't care how I get there. Don't be prideful, or don't feel like, oh, your whole lineup's just got to be straight sexy, or you can't start it. Like, no, the whole point is to win and get that championship at the end of the year. And this is how you do it. You stream guys that are hot. And Jake Fraley is hot right now. So yeah, let's do it. All right, we're moving on. We got pitching now, and this is fun. I prefer this right now because just pitching is ugly. And Casey Mize has been a little bit more of a bright spot since his first couple starts, right? First start, he had a 6.23 ERA, which I wasn't happy with, but I was like, I brushed it off. I kept him in my lineup, and with good reason, right? Go out against Pitt, had a 3.6 ERA with 2 Ks, whatever, right? Not a bad start though, and a 1.20 WHIP. Not a bad start at all, honestly. Like, he didn't get me the Ks, but didn't destroy my ERA. Was able to eat up some innings and had a decent WHIP. Like nothing, like it's still not great, but not bad. Then He goes out against Texas the week after, which I actually benched him for. Did this on my bench. He had 6 Ks through 6 innings. He had a 3 ERA and a .83 WHIP. So Casey Mize was able to go out there, do his thing, and handle himself against a really strong team, in my opinion. Yeah, they're not all going. Evan Carter isn't hot. Wyatt Langford isn't hitting yet. So maybe like if they were going, it may have been a different story. But I mean, hey, you still got Corey Seager and Simeon in that lineup, and Adolis. So like there are no pushovers either. So he was able to handle his own against a good team. So 100% like Casey Mize, I think needs to be added. I don't know if I mentioned his ownership percentage. Let's see real quick. 17%. So like, yeah, like he's out there in leagues. Pitching is a necessity. Strider's down. Guys like Castillo and Gaussman and and all the other guys I talked about on the Wario meters and things like that and trade fours episodes are not performing. Casey Mize can, provide a little, sunlight and a bright spot in a world of rotations that aren't looking so hard or performing. So Casey Mize is a must add too, and also too to just like drive in what I'm talking here real quick. I just want to see something. So like he even is performing a little bit better than what his FIP, what his ERA is on the year right now too. Just to throw that out there, his FIP is a 3.27, right? So he had FIP is fielding independent pitching. So if he had an average defense behind him, this would be his ERA, right? And it's a 3.27, a lot better than the 4.11 than what he's posting. So he is getting better. He's improving. I think everything will kind of level out. He's only given up 1 home run this year, which is great. I'm definitely not like, upset with his stats right now. I think that Casey Mize has a bright future. He's actually probably one of the few guys that we're going to be talking about that has some long-term potential. So must add Casey Mize for sure. All right. We're going to move on to a little bit more of a stash now, and that's John Means' business here. John Means, okay, of the Orioles here. Means is somebody that has been hurt for quite some times, hasn't been able to make it out here. But you know what? I forget what he's coming back from. Let's see here. Forearm, so I think TJ, if I'm not mistaken. And he struggled his last rehab start, but he's starting his rehab start. But he's having rehab starts, which is great, right? I think he's gonna need a few more. So it's probably about like a 2-3 weeks out, but you can stash him on your IL if you have an IL in your league. And Means could come up and be an instant contributor for you. Let me just refresh you who John Means is, because it's been a little bit since he's been out on the field. John Means in 2023 last year. Had 23 innings pitched. He had 10 strikeouts, which isn't wonderful, but whatever, but had a 2.66 ERA, and had a whip of .718. John Means in the previous year in 2022, that's where he got hurt as well. So was also dealing with some stuff, but it looked good in those outings. But what we're really referring to, what like the last time he was actually relevant for fantasy and why he's even on this episode is he had 146 innings pitched. He had 134 strikeouts. He had an ERA of 3.62. He had a whip of 103. Like everything in that season looked great for him. So like ultimately, John Means could come up and produce. So like you kind of want to stash him, see if he can come back to glory, see if he can do what he did in 2021, or even do what he did in 2023. Like, I'm okay with that. I mean, yeah, I'd prefer the K's up, at least getting me more than just like two a pop, but we'll see what happens. I think that quite honestly, John Means will get back to there. It's just going to take him a little time. So if he struggles a little bit in the beginning and his rehab starts, it's not going to turn me off. He's probably working on a few things. He's going to get up here and be great. So John Means' business is a must add, and it means you need to add him. Not to do too many wordplay things here. But before we move on and we talk about these last 3 names I got for you, great starting pitcher names like Steve Matz, Jack Leader, Kirby Yates, we do have one last ad break for you. And guys, we're talking Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks. You pick more or less than 2 to 6 players' stat projections and watch their winnings roll in. Exploring my skills on Prize Picks this season adds an extra layer of excitement to daily fantasy sports. With just a few taps, you can transform $10 into $1,000 easily. Prize Picks is incredibly user-friendly. You can make your selections and submit your entry in less than 60 seconds. As the host of Locked On Fantasy Baseball, I actually have some really good picks for you this week. Offer Jesus Luzardo to have higher than 1.5 walks at his next start. Offer Zach Geloff to have higher than 0.5 RBIs in his next outing. And offer Julio Rodriguez to have higher than 0.5 runs in his next game. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with Prize Picks. All right, we got 10 minutes left, and we got about 3 names to go. So I actually get to take my time with these guys, and I'm pretty excited to get in there. Let's talk Steve Matz. Steve Matz right now is looking good on the season. I want to pull up a couple things for him real quick with Steve Matz. Um, yeah, it's funny. He's like a little journeyman these days. He's just bouncing all over the league now on the St. Louis Cardinals. 14% owned. He has had his last start was pretty not great against Oakland. At Oakland, he had a 9 ERA, had 4 Ks through 5 innings and 2 WHIP. But his previous start against Arizona had 2 Ks and 1.93 ERA with a 1.71 WHIP, not the hottest through 4 innings. And then against Miami, he had 5 innings, 3 Ks, no earned runs, 1 WHIP. Got the win in that game. And then against the Dodgers, he had 5 innings, 3 Ks, a 3.38 ERA with a 1.31 WHIP. So he's kind of been up and down in terms of certain categories, but right now, like his overall stats on the season look good. Through 20 innings, he has a win, 12 Ks, a 3.6 ERA, and a 1.5 WHIP. WHIP, I'm not too crazy about right now, but I'm also not going to get encompassed by it. I'm just going to kind of just like let it be. He walked. He's just a higher WHIP guy. Last year, he finished with a 1.33. Year before that, a 1.25, and then a 1.33. Like it is what it is, but he's able to produce in some matter of form and get you almost a K per 9, a little bit under it, and be a good starter each and every week. At least when he has a good matchup. I don't know if I'm going to roll him out against the Dodgers. That takes a little cojones, or against the Yankees or the Astros. But in the certain matchup, I'm willing to roll him out there. He may not be a guy you're keeping all season. He might be dropping an ad in as we go. But Steve Matz right now, I think is an ad for me. Let's see what his next matchup is going to be. It's probably going to be more like next week. So he's more of like, let's add Sundays. Let's look at him Sunday, see what his next start's going to be, and then add him. But right now he's performing. So I'm willing to bring him up on this episode just based off the fact that he's just been solid. And, we all need a little pitching depth. And, Steve Matz can definitely be the guy that can add some depth right now. Don't add him today, but maybe add him at the end of the weekend, depending on what that matchup is. It's right now not determined for me. So I can't see it, but I'm sure it's going to be all right. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Jack Leader. He got the call up on Thursday or the day before. Let's see real quick. I just want to be accurate with this. He got the call up on the 18th today when I'm recording Thursday. He got lit up against Detroit, funny enough. He posed a 17.18 ERA, but Jack Leader is a lot better than what that first outing is for me, right? So I don't see anything where he's being sent down either, right? No. It is what it is. He had a bad first start. Whoop-de-freaking-do. So Jack Leader is a good talent. Let's put it that way, right? So in AAA this year, he's posed a 3.77 ERA. He has had 14 innings pitched. He has 25 Ks and a 0.97 WHIP. Like those are great numbers. In the past, he's had good starts through certain aspects. He's also been all over the place too. He's a little inconsistent, but I do like Jack Leader for a few reasons. He's got good stuff. He has a good arsenal, decent power. I like Jack Leader a lot just for those reasons alone. Plus, you know what? He's on a team where, he poses to be a threat in the win category. So, like, even though wins can't be predicted, but when you're on a team like the Rangers, why not try to take advantage and not only just buy into the player, but buy into the team as well. So he kind of gets a boost on that front for me. So Jack Leader right there, all about it. Let's just see what his next start is going to look like. I don't know if I'm going to roll him out there and start him, but I might add him now or add him on Sunday and then keep him on my bench, sit him. And if he does good things, you keep him. If not, you drop him because he's probably going to be sent down at that point. He has 2 bad outings, probably back to back. We'll see. But right now, I think 100% he needs to be added because if he lives up to his upside, Jack Leader can really do some things for you. All right. We got our last guy here, and I might have time to sneak somebody else in. And then if that's the case, we'll do that. Right now, we got Kirby Yates. Kirby Yates is pretty much stepping into the saves role for the Rangers. Funny enough, we're going back-to-back Rangers team here. Yates not only was able to was put in the 9th and was able to, be put in the high leverage situation, but somehow ended up with the win instead of the save. So that was awesome because if you had him, he did you justice. That's actually 2 nights ago for you guys. Today he got the save as well on the 18th. So he seems to be the new closer. Kirby Yates does have a history of being a closer. I like Kirby Yates' history. It may be ringing a bell for you, but Kirby Yates has done things in the past and has been a very, very relevant closer in the past, but he hasn't been one since 2019 because he hasn't had that closer job essentially. But Yates in the past in his heyday in 2019, had 60 innings, 101 strikeouts, and 41 saves in that season with an ERA of 119. Now that's ridiculous stuff. I don't think it's going to happen again. But hey, even if he gets, I don't know, like a 3 ERA with well over a K per nine, I'm happy, right? Like right now, he has 7 innings pitched and he has 9 strikeouts. Like this is great. He's having the opportunities right now, whereas Leclerc wasn't able to hold on to the job. Somebody I thought could, and now Yates has stepped up and just said, "Yo, this is my job now. I'm the captain now. Like, let's go, Yates. Like, I'm all about it." Yates is, if I'm not mistaken here, 45% owned. So a guy that's getting the ninth inning high leverage situation still only 45% owned, 55% of leagues he's available. You need to go out there and add him because saves don't come by easily. And if he's able to hold down the job for the rest of the year, or at least until the All-Star break, to even get him as your third closer, fourth closer, you're happy with that. So 100% you need to add Yates immediately. And you know what? I promise you won't be upset with this. So I got to look for another guy now. And with that being said, let me just pull it up real quick. Who do we want to talk about? Because I got time. So let's see here. Let's talk about Ryan O'Hearn. Ryan O'Hearn, 32% owned. He is performing pretty great. Last week was 6 runs, 3 bombs, 5 ribs, batting 304. Last 2 weeks look good too. 9 runs, 4 bombs, 6 ribs, batting 343. He's looking good. He's on Baltimore. He plays first and outfield. There's some positional flexibility. Why not go and add him, right? O'Hearn just is going to be you're maybe not going to be a full season long play, but ride the wave right now. Hot hands play. First base has kind of been ugly. Like Paul Goldschmidt is performing, and that ain't great. So maybe you sneak in O'Hearn until either there's a course correction with Goldschmidt, or until you find a better option at first. But O'Hearn is somebody that's definitely going to be able to fill out and be able to essentially fill the gaps and be at least a contributor for the next week or so until the other shoe drops. So yeah, Ryan O'Hearn is a must add. I need to learn how to go slower because man, 27 minutes and 11 names. I'm blown away. Usually it takes me a lot longer to get through it. I just want to thank everybody for, bearing with us. The support for Dom has been great on the comments. I truly appreciate it. Guys, hopefully just me doing the show by myself has been beneficial. I really am grateful for this still. If there's any feedback, please leave it in the comments on YouTube or join us on Subtext and leave it there. I'd love to hear from you guys on how I could do better. But yeah, guys, with that being said, please like, subscribe, comment, rate, review. I am probably going to get an episode out on Saturday for you guys. Not sure what I'm going to do yet. Maybe like either a streaming episode for the week coming and for Sunday, or maybe even a keep or drop kind of situation. We'll see. It depends on what I come up with. But with that being said, guys, have a wonderful day. Please like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review.